Hollywood legend Harrison Ford lists the 9 women who stole his heart, forever. At 83, Harrison Ford has nothing left to prove, not to Hollywood, not to his fans, not even to himself. He's conquered galaxies as Han Solo, unearthed legends as Indiana Jones, and faced storms both on-screen and off with the calm of a man who has lived a dozen lives. But when he sits down for his most intimate interview in decades, there's a twinkle in his aging eyes, one that suggests he still carries a few secrets. "People think they know me," he says quietly, sipping black coffee. "But they don't know who truly mattered to me." When asked the question, "Who are the women you've desired most in your lifetime?" Ford chuckles. "Desire changes meaning when you grow older," he says. "It's not just attraction, it's admiration, connection, and mystery." Then, for the first time, the Hollywood icon names 9 women who shaped his heart, his art, and his understanding of love. Callista Flockhart, the calm after the storm. He starts with the obvious one, his wife, Callista Flockhart, whom he married in 2010. "Callista saved me from myself," Ford admits. "She didn't fall in love with the actor. She loved the man who was tired of pretending." Their relationship, once mocked for the 22-year age gap, became one of Hollywood's most stable unions. "She taught me patience," he says. "And she taught me that home doesn't have to be a place. It can be a person." When asked what he desires most in her, Ford smiles softly. "Her peace," he says. "It's something I chased my whole life." Carrie Fisher, the eternal spark. Ford leans back, eyes clouded by memory. "Carrie was chaos," he says. "And I loved her for it." Their secret affair during the filming of Star Wars remained hidden for decades until Fisher revealed it in her memoir, The Princess Diarist. "We were reckless," Ford recalls. "She was 20-something, and I was married. But she was the brightest flame I ever stood too close to." He pauses. "Desire isn't always clean or right. Sometimes it burns you, but I'd rather be burned by Carrie Fisher once than live a lifetime without her laughter." Helen Mirren, the one who surprised him. In 2023, when Ford filmed 1923 with Helen Mirren, old sparks flew. Not of romance, but of pure artistic admiration. "Helen is fearless," he says. "She carries sensuality like its armor." He recalls their first scene together. "She looked me straight in the eye and said, 'You ready for this, cowboy?' I laughed. But inside, I thought, I wish I'd met her 30 years earlier." Karen Allen, the woman who matched his fire. No list of Ford's women could exist without Karen Allen, his unforgettable co-star in Raiders of the Lost Ark. "Karen had that spark," he says. "You couldn't fake that chemistry." Their banter on set became legendary, their laughter real. "There were moments," Ford confesses, "when I wasn't sure where Indy ended and I began. And when I looked at Karen, I wasn't sure if I was acting." Decades later, when they reunited for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Ford felt a flood of nostalgia. "Some chemistry never dies," he whispers. Sigourney Weaver, the missed chance. Ford laughs softly when her name comes up. "Ah, Sigourney," he says. "We almost worked together, twice. I think the universe kept missing the cue." He admired her strength, her intelligence, her ability to dominate a screen without needing anyone's approval. "She had the presence of a queen and the eyes of a warrior," he says. "I always wondered what it would be like to share a scene with her. Maybe even a life." Meryl Streep, the mirror of his soul. They starred together in The Devil's Own and The River Wild, intense sets that built quiet respect between them. "Meryl made acting dangerous again," Ford says. "She made me work harder, think deeper, and question my instincts." But beyond admiration, there was something unspoken. "Meryl was married, and I respected that," he adds. "But when she looked at me, it was like she saw through all the walls." He grins. "If I'd met her before Don Gummer did, the history books might look different." Carey Lowell, the elegant ghost. Before Callista, there was Carey Lowell, his co-star in Random Hearts. The chemistry was electric, too electric. That film was strange, Ford admits. We were both coming from difficult places in our lives. Maybe that's why we connected so easily. After filming ended, they stayed in touch for years, exchanging letters. She was elegance personified, he recalls. But sometimes, the right people meet at the wrong time. Michelle Pfeiffer, the one that got away. When Harrison Ford starred with Michelle Pfeiffer in What Lies Beneath, 2000, audiences saw the darkness of marriage. But behind the scenes, Ford saw a different kind of beauty. Michelle was magnetic, he says. She had this stillness that drew you in. Rumors swirled about off-screen tension, but Ford dismisses them. We were two professionals pretending to be broken people, he says. Maybe that's why the emotions felt too real. He pauses for a long moment. If there's one woman I wish I'd known outside the set, he confesses, it's her. His mother, Dorothy Ford. At last, Ford grows quiet. You asked about desire, he says softly. Well, the greatest kind isn't romantic. He speaks of his late mother, Dorothy Ford, who pushed him to act, to fight for himself, to never give up on his strange dreams. She was the first woman who believed in me, he says. And for all the women I've loved, none gave me a foundation like she did. He clears his throat, visibly emotional. Every good man carries a bit of his mother in him. I carry mine every day. The man behind the legend. The room falls silent. Ford sits back, hands folded. His voice softens. Desire isn't about youth, it's about what stays in your mind when the lights go out. When asked if he regrets any of those relationships, Ford shakes his head. No, he says firmly. You can't regret people who make you feel alive. He reflects on the loneliness of fame. People see the premieres, the jets, the red carpets, he says. They don't see the nights when you come home and there's no one waiting. Those women, the ones I've mentioned, they filled those empty spaces in ways I didn't even understand until years later. He glances at the window, sunlight reflecting on his weathered face. At 83, he muses, you don't desire beauty the way you used to. You desire truth. You desire kindness. You desire to be seen, not as a legend, but as a man. Final reflection. In the quiet of the interview's end, Ford offers one last thought. Every character I played, from Han Solo to Indiana Jones, carried pieces of these women. They gave me the courage to be vulnerable, the humor to be human, and the fire to never stop chasing life. He chuckles, deep and gravelly, the same voice that once thrilled millions. People always want to know who the real Harrison Ford is, he says. Well, maybe he's just the sum of the women who believed he could be more than a man with a hat and a whip. As he stands to leave, he puts on his old leather jacket, the same one from Raiders, and turns toward the door. If I've learned anything, he says, it's that desire doesn't fade. It evolves. And if you're lucky, you live long enough to say thank you to the people who made you who you are. Outside, the California sun dips low, casting a golden glow on a man who has loved, lost, and lived beyond legend. For Harrison Ford, desire was never just about romance, it was about connection, memory, and the quiet grace of growing old with fire still in your heart.